Hey guys, welcome to Robert Juice. Today, I've got a very special topic I want to talk about, and that's childhood. No, I'm not going to get too sentimental, I'm going to try not to anyway. But what I want to talk about is specifically growing up with gaming and how it can bring you closer together with people. So, when I was probably 6 or 7 when I met my first gaming-related friend. Never had a real big issue making friends in school. Like, I was never super popular, but I was always personable and people could approach me and talk to me, no problem. Well, you see, the thing is, my big thing has always been gaming. Ever since I was little, I was always gaming. The Super Nintendo, that's where I started gaming at. I had an NES when I was like 4. I don't remember anything about it. I'd like to have another one now, but I don't remember anything about the games. I remember we were talking about Super Mario World, and that was interesting because I was like, hey, someone likes the same games that I play, and it gave us something to talk about every time we met. Every time, we sit on the bus together because turns out we lived like 3 minutes away from each other. We would talk about games. I would get picked up first in the morning, and then he would get on, and we'd talk about games, and we'd laugh and have a good time. That friendship kind of fizzled out, as friendships tend to do. As I got older, we went to a different school. We moved. And so, we moved, I think, 20 miles away. So we weren't going to the same school anymore. So we didn't really have a way to talk because this was before cell phones were a thing, really. So I was going to school, and 6th grade was rough. 6th grade, I didn't have a lot of friends. It was, brand new school. It was middle school nonetheless. So it was like totally different world for me. I was struggling with grades. Still had my games. That's awesome. There wasn't a lot of kids at school that liked to talk about the same games that I did. That's where it gets interesting, because that's all I had. Like I said, I didn't really play sports. I wasn't into sports, but gaming was really all I had. And so there was one guy I remember talking to. His name was Cody. We never got to be super close or anything, but he liked something called Silent Hill. And I'd never heard of it before. I didn't have a PlayStation as a kid. So he liked Silent Hill. That was super interesting for me because, like, the world of survival horror was just new. Before that, I'd only heard of Resident Evil 1 and 2. I would hang out in a trailer park with a guy that had those 2 games, and I would watch him play them. And it was a lot of fun. Like, it was my first time really seeing survival horror. Until that, I'd only played Mario, Zelda, some Pokemon, like all the Nintendo classics, but never anything truly scary. So that was something unique for me. So listening to this guy talking about Silent Hill and about how these babies came to attack you in the school and stuff, blew my freaking mind. And I was like, wow, it sounds so much creepier than Resident Evil. So yeah, it was definitely something interesting for me, learning about survival horror for the first time. But that introduced me to 2 new people, and it was through games. So that was something super crazy for me because I was having a hard time making friends, and these people just come out of nowhere. Let me tell you, that changed in 7th grade. By then, I was really starting to be looked on in the school as a nerd, which, again, by me, I don't care. If you want to call me a nerd, that's super cool. I already think I'm a nerd, so whatever. But I met my best friend in 7th grade. His name was Jody. And, man, let me tell you, that was an experience. Just, I think back to those times. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. See, gaming can do good things like this. If you ever doubt that gaming can open up doors in your life, I'm not talking professional doors like careers or anything like it could. It may be able to. I don't know. But you can meet amazing people. One of the lizards is trying to break free. You can meet amazing people through gaming. And it's all about sharing experiences together. I remember when I first met him, I'm not sure what made us start talking. I guess because we were both kind of quiet and not really sociable to begin with. But I walked up to him, or he walked up to me, and we were talking. And I remember one of the first games we ever talked about was Ocarina of Time. I had beaten it not long before that, because I'd only had the game, a few years. And when I got the game, I was about 10. So my young 10-year-old brain just struggled getting through Ocarina of Time for some reason. I don't know why. Link to the Past is no problem, but maybe the jump to 3D screwed my head. I don't know. But I look back on that, and it really brings a lot of memories, because we discuss Ocarina of Time like crazy. We had theories we talk about and all kinds of stuff, man. It was just crazy looking back. And it turns out, funnily enough, I only lived like, I don't know, 15 minutes away from him. So a lot of times on the weekends, I would walk home because he lived right behind the school. So I would walk home with him and just spend the whole weekend. Can't do that anymore now because we're adults, obviously, and he lives like a state away. But something we would always do is, when everyone else was playing basketball or something, we'd just walk around talking about games. And that was what started the bond, and we just got super close after that. We would always be together, almost always. We'd always be talking about games too. That's a big thing for us. That was what brought us together. I remember he introduced me to Dot Hack, that whole series. He introduced me to Kingdom Hearts. I had no idea what the hell Kingdom Hearts was. He showed me what it was. I knew what the Sonic series was. I'd never played any of the games. He let me borrow Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. I played those on the GameCube. He introduced me to Animal Crossing, another series that I'm huge for nowadays. When I say we have memories together, that's no understatement. He's been my best friend now for 20 years. And I don't talk to him as much as I should now. Life tends to get in the way of everything. You got school, you got work. It's hard to make time without feeling like I'm disrupting his life. But not a single day goes by when I don't think about our past together. Every day, I'm looking back and be like, man, you remember that time we melted a paper plate in your microwave just because we were kids? Let me tell you, like, the memories you have with a friend like that, they're definitely special. He also introduced me to Jet Set Radio, a game I had no idea existed. See, I kind of lived vicariously through him. He always had like the latest and greatest tech, the latest and greatest games. And it was so cool to go over at his house to experience this stuff. And a lot of times we'd experience like new games together. So that was always super cool. I remember Resident Evil 4. I forgot exactly which grade I was in when that was a big thing. But we would get together and explode some heads. I watched him play the entire game. And that's kind of, I guess, where I got into the whole content creators before content creators were even a thing. Because we would just sit there and we'd make jokes about what was going on. And we'd watch, of course, I would watch, and I loved watching him play. And I swear that's where I get into like watching streamers now. Now I'll watch them play and have just as much fun because it's just like sitting there with your friend while they play a game. I remember one of the greatest things I was able to do for him back in the day. I was working full time through high school. I was working at Hardee's. Some of you may know it by Carl's Jr. I was working full time there because I was homeschooled, so I had more than enough time on my hands to work. I bought both him and myself a copy of Smash Brothers Brawl. And I remember just the look on his face when I showed up to his house, knocked on his front door, and I'm like, here you go, man. And it was just great, the look on his face. It made me so happy that I was able to do something because before that, he would always like just give me games. And I never took them as like, hey, I'm trying to buy you friendship. It was always like, here, I don't play this anymore. Please take this and maybe you'll get some use out of it. And of course I did. Like Sonic Adventure 2, I'd never had it, and he gave it to us, and we played the hell out of it. And just like he gave us Animal Crossing, we played the hell out of that. And now I'm a huge fan of Animal Crossing. Not so much New Horizons, but hey, it's still a good game. It was also through him that I discovered the beautiful, beautiful world of Flash movies and games. Newgrounds.com used to be every weekend for us. We would get together and watch stupid shit on Newgrounds. Man, let me tell you, there was some messed up stuff on there, but there was also, really funny stuff. There's also like crazy fan art. The Real Legend, some of you may remember that. That was a fantastic Zelda parody show. It was hand-drawn in Flash, and it made fun of Ocarina of Time. Also, let me tell you, when I first discovered the Action Replay, that was something crazy. So he had Super Mario Sunshine, and we loaded up the Action Replay with all the crazy codes and stuff, and there was one that was this crazy rocket jump. And you would go so high in the air, Mario would be just like a pixel on the screen. It would take literally like 3 to 5 minutes for him to hit the ground. And so we would just do that over and over because it was fucking funny. we had such a good time. So we just shoot Mario up. And I remember his grandma walking into the room one day while we're doing that. And she's like, "What are you guys doing?" And we're like, "Playing Mario Sunshine." She's like, "That's Mario?" We're like, "Yeah." She's like, "All right." And just left. And these memories, man, you can't make this stuff up. He's my best friend for a reason, though. We went through a lot of stuff together. Like, we both had several breakups. I mean, it's part of life, right? But during that time, you think you're going to die. Like, you're depressed. You know, it's like the worst thing that's ever happened to you. It's awful. But having someone there to talk to, and not so much about the games, but the experience you have playing the games together, that make you forget about the crappy shit in the world. That's what I really miss now, especially, you know, being an adult. The world's even worse than it was as a teenager. It's not just breakups anymore. Now you've got work that drains you every day. You've got stress from school. You want to make good grades and get a good job. The world burns you down. Not being able to see my best friend every day or even talk to him every day, that drains you too. I mean, yeah, you might have a wife or fiance, but it's honestly not the same. Like, yes, they are your best friend now, but it's not the same as having a male best friend from your childhood. And I mean, no disrespect whatsoever towards the women in our lives at all. That's not what I'm saying. It's just we have a special connection that I miss. I miss having that friend that I can look back on these games with, or sit on the couch with and do something dumb in a game and laugh about it and make you fucking forget what's going on in the world. Make you forget your homework. Yeah, don't do your homework. Don't do your homework. No, do your homework, please. Please don't make bad grades. But I remember there's so many things from our childhood that are still special to me, because the memories that come from that, they're unique. You can't replicate that. You can't get that from anywhere else now. I mean, someday I'll probably look on the time I have now and be like, man, those were great times too. But there's something special about being a kid and like an early teenager, even mid to late teenager, with these games and having someone really, really close to you that you can sit down and play with. That you just don't get that anymore. Games don't care about couch multiplayer. Nintendo is really in a league of their own right now because they're trying to keep couch multiplayer alive with the Switch. Like, you know, you've got the 2 Joy-Cons built into the system that you can have multiplayer right there. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world, but I mean, it works. And you just don't see that anymore. You don't have memories like that. Sure, now if he and I wanted to play together, it would be online. We'd have voice chat, you know, to keep us company, but it's still not the same as sitting down. I don't even think video conferencing would be the same as sitting one-on-one and chatting with them. Honestly, the point of this video was to look at my childhood and kind of pull some of these memories out that I wanted to share. But a lot of this is shout out to him, shout out to my best friend for being there for me and helping me to grow as a person. Not necessarily in the sense that like, oh, I learned to communicate better or anything like that. I mean, I'm sure it helped, but he instilled these thoughts into me that, you know, you're better than what you think you are. Even now, there's so much, like I waited until I was, you know, over 30 to get back into school. And he tells me like, you know, you have a future, you are somebody. And you don't see that very often. People don't care to help people out anymore. And that to me is everything. So thank you, Jody, truly, for being my best friend for 20 years, dealing with my bullshit, my stupidity, my dependence on you for happiness, I guess. It means the world to have a friend like you in my life, and I want everyone out there to know just how amazing my time with you has been over the years. I may not get to talk to you every day. I may not get to see you at all, hardly ever. I know you're a state away and you're always busy with your crazy job, and I'm really proud of you for the man you've become and the things you've done, the choices you've made. We've both had some hard twists and turns in our life, but I wanted to say thank you, and I wanted to kind of take this opportunity to look back on our childhood and the memories we've made together and just say thank you. Thank you for being a friend. Bye.